and that's not the direction I wanted on. It's a call for love. It's a big old call for love, y'all. The call for love. That's what it is. It's a call for love. Yeah. So. All right. Hello, mighty companions. Thank you for sticking around, doing that little challenge to see if we're going to get a chance to do what we're going to do today. This is Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to Facebook Live and A Course in Miracles. And we're going to talk about trusting today. I know all of you trust your brothers and sisters implicitly in every situation and circumstance. So we're going to get a chance to talk about trust. And if there are people in your life that you know you need to see in a different way, there are people in your life you know you don't trust. In situations and circumstances with certain people that you know you don't trust. Because to me, the Course in Miracles doesn't have any value if we can't apply it to our everyday life. And I'm trying to refuse to let my classes just be another opportunity to hear somebody speak and then forget about what it is because I really want to focus in on and teach very dedicated Course in Miracles students, as well as be helpful to people who just want to check it out every now and then, not really necessarily study it, but you think that there's something that might be coming through me that might be helpful. But after almost 43 years of teaching the course, I want to be especially helpful to those who see the Course in Miracles as their spiritual path. And they would like to take advantage of somebody that studied it as long as I have to help save them some time. That teaching is what turns me on the most. Not preaching, not lecturing, but teaching. So we're going to be on, I Trust My Brothers Who Are One With Me. I Trust My Brothers Who Are One With Me, lesson 181 in the Course in Miracles workbook. I got a couple of extra books up here. And it's on page 337 in the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. Let's see here. So I'd like for you to just take a minute to catch your breath and let yourself. I'd like for you to ask yourself this question. Why did I come? Why did I tune into this? Why did I show up today? What do I want to come out of this? What am I doing this for? What is my goal? Why did I get up? If I'm in the room, why did I get up to bother to come over here today? What is it that I need to allow myself to focus in on? On page 38 in the text, and you don't have to necessarily go there, but it says, you can do much on behalf of your own healing, and you can do much on the behalf of the healing of others. If in a situation calling for help, you think of that situation calling for help in this way. I am here only to be truly helpful. If there's a situation in your life right now, and that situation is calling for some type of change, some type of a new perception, some type of help, tell yourself, I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent Spirit who sent me. I'm here to represent Spirit who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do. Because Spirit who sent me will direct me. Because Spirit who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever Spirit wishes. I am content to be wherever Spirit wishes. Knowing that Spirit goes with me. Knowing that Spirit goes with me. I will be healed as I let Spirit teach me to heal. I will be healed as I let Spirit teach me to heal. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent Spirit who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to do or what to say, because Spirit who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever God wishes, wherever Spirit wishes, knowing that Spirit goes there with me. I will be healed as I let Spirit teach me to heal. I will be healed as I let God teach me to heal. You are here in this world only to be truly helpful. You are here to represent Spirit, God, love, who sent you. You do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because God who sent you, Spirit who sent you, will direct you. You are content to be wherever Spirit wishes, wherever God wishes, wherever love wishes, knowing that God, love, and Spirit goes there with you. Do you know that you will be healed? You will be healed. You will be healed. You will be healed. Everything that's causing you any type of lack of peace or upset in any way will be healed as you let God and Spirit truth teach you to heal. You will be healed as you let Spirit, the truth, the course, teach you to heal. I trust my brothers who are one with me. I trust my brothers who are one with me. Do you know that the Course in Miracles says that your brother, another term for brother, is equal? So when it says, I trust my brother, it's saying, I trust my equal who is one with me. That means that all of us are equals. All of us are equals. All of us are equally powerful. All of us are equally spirit. All of us are equally creating our experience. All of us are equally responsible for how we are seeing things. All of us are equally responsible for how we are experiencing our experience right now. All of us are equally love. All of us are equally spirit. So what should a person do? What is it that the Course in Miracles says a person should do if they want to be able to hear what the Course in Miracles is saying? It says you need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you will actively resist. Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. And others may seem to be quite startling. Some of the other ideas may seem to be quite startling. You are not being asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. You are not being asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. You are not being asked to judge the ideas at all. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. If you use the ideas, you'll see that the ideas are true. If you use the ideas, you'll see that the ideas are true. Have you ever had doubt in yourself? Have you ever had a lack of conviction in yourself? How do you overcome that? How do you get past self-doubt? Well, the Course in Miracles says it in the very first sentence in that lesson. It says, We don't have to be so damn serious now. I know I'm saying it to myself.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah, I know. I know. We're not. This isn't a date at the dentist office. Okay. Forget that this is a spiritual center. Think of it as a house of ill repute. It's funny that the Course of Miracles are saying trusting other people is essential to establishing my faith and my ability to get rid of my self-doubt and to get rid of any lack of conviction that I have in myself. I got to trust you. That's totally opposite of what I've heard other books say. It would say, through trusting you, I overcome my doubt. Through trusting you, I overcome my lack of conviction in myself. So what happens when you go off on somebody? What happens when you attack somebody? What happens when you're angry at someone? The Course says, this is what you're saying. If I'm angry at you, and I say I'm mad at you, and I say I'm upset with you, what am I saying? He says, I'm saying that I proclaim that you are limited, and you are limited by what I see in you. I'm angry at you. I am proclaiming that you are limited by whatever I'm seeing in you. I'm angry at you. I'm seeing you as being limited by whatever I see in you. I'm mad at you. I am proclaiming that you are limited by what I see in you. I'm judging you. I'm angry at you. I'm condemning you. I am saying to you, you are limited. 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 And you're limited by what I see in you. And you're limited by how I see you. You're limited by the story I'm telling myself about you. I have got to get to the point that I understand and accept what this friggin' book is saying about there's nobody out there that's making me mad. I'm making me mad. You are making you mad. You are making you upset about it. Whatever you're upset about, you're the one that's making you upset about it. Whatever you're upset about, you're the one that's making you upset about it. Whatever you're unhappy about, you're the one that's making yourself unhappy about it. Whatever you're happy about, Earl, you're the one that's making yourself unhappy about it. The Course in Miracles says, unless we say these things over and over and over and over and over again, we'll never accept it as true. Unless I start using the ideas, I'll never see that these ideas are true. So yeah, do I still sometimes get angry and therefore want to blame somebody else and say, if they were different, I'd be happy? Because all anger is the statement, if you were different, I'd be happy. All anger is the statement, if you were different, I'd be happy. If something about you were different, then I would be happy. So the Course is telling me that if I'm angry at you, I believe you're limited by the way that I'm seeing you. And then what does the Course say next? It says, well, then you do not look beyond their errors. Right? I don't look beyond your limit. I think you're a no good person, which is me saying I think you're limited by the way I'm seeing you. And I pick out different people in the audience, because I want this to get real to me. Again, I'm not interested in abstract discussion over Course in Miracles. I want to know, how can I apply this when I'm dealing with people the rest of this week or the rest of today? So I'm making this practical. He says go slow to do that. Because I want to remember. I don't want this to be another opportunity for me to hear the truth and then go back and let my ego take over and I just do my natural programming around things. Because that's all the ego is. The ego is nothing but your concept of yourself and your concept of everybody else. And the Course says you make up an ego for everybody you know. You call it your opinion of them. Mm-hmm. You call it the way that you see them and who you think they are. The Course says that's an ego you making up for everybody else. And guess what? You make one up for you too, which is the way you see yourself and your own self-concept. So I want to apologize and ask you all's forgiveness by proclaiming that you're limited by what I see in you. And that's what I need to say to everybody the rest of the day, especially those who I think I have any form of upset with. Okay? So the Course says, you don't look, not only do you not look beyond what you perceive as the person's errors, he says you magnify what their limitation is. You magnify what you think you're upset about. And what happens when I magnify the thing I'm telling myself about you. He says, well, when I do that, then that becomes a block to my awareness. Awareness of what? Of the self that lies beyond your own mistakes and past their seeming sins as well as yours. So let me hear what he just told me. What did Jesus of the Course in Miracles just tell me? That if you want to get beyond any kind of doubt and lack of conviction in yourself, you're going to have to learn how to trust others. Well, I'm never going to get past my doubt. That's a part of me says, well, Purdy, you can just forget that one. Okay. But it took me a while after studying the Course for many decades, not decades, but decades. I will not go there. Okay. Because we're too spiritual, we'll blow up. Spiritual people are so fragile about certain subjects and topics. The Course in Miracles is not telling us to trust each other's ego. The Course in Miracles is not telling each other to trust each other's ego. When it says that trusting your brothers is essential, it is not saying me trusting your ego is essential. It's not about me trusting the way you see things and the opinions that you have and the concepts that you have about yourself. I will never trust that, because that's the part of you that changes every day and every other day and all through the day, regardless of how you happen to be feeling at the moment. So this book is not asking you to trust regular people. The Course is not asking you to trust somebody that thinks that they're separate from you. It's not asking you to trust somebody that thinks that they are separate from you, or someone who still projects and who blames, who just think they're a temporary being that's here on the earth for a little while before you go to the next, until you die. Okay? So I'm not asking you, and the Course in Miracles is not asking you to trust somebody's ego. So are we clear? Yeah. So when it says, trust your brother is not your brother's opinions and your brother's body. Are you with me? Hear that now, because a lot of people, they make the Course hard because they think the Course is telling you to trust the crazy people. Or trust the murderer, or trust the robber, or trust the person that's condemning and judging. Somehow you're supposed to love that person. No, that's the ego. Nobody's asking you to love the part of the person who doesn't even know they're one with you, and is not even knowing that they are loved themselves. And I'm explaining it. He says it right here. He says, what happens when you focus on a person's ego, which the Course defines as their errors, he says, then you magnify. And so let's say I think that you're trying to betray me, and so I'm limiting you by the perception that I have of who you are. Well, since I'm focusing on the idea that you may betray me, then that's going to block my awareness of who you are beyond the you that I think is going to betray me. Follow me? Yeah. If I think you're untrustworthy, that's going to block me from seeing the part of you, the part of you that's really trustworthy and really loving. So the reason why many people don't trust people is they never go beyond the limited perception that they themselves have of the other person, and they use that to block their awareness of who the person really is. So the reason why we looks like sometimes we're in a world full of people who we can't trust is we don't go beyond the perception of them that we have, that they're not trustworthy, that there's not a part of them that is trustworthy. After being in the Course for so long, I try to solve most of my relationship issues with people by not talking to them about it. I use talking to people now as a last resort to solve anything. I'm serious. I don't want to talk to your ego. I don't want to talk to your ego. I don't want to talk to the part of you that think you're right about the way that you're looking at things, that think you're separate from me and I'm separate from you. I want to talk to you Holy Spirit to Holy Spirit. I want to talk to you divine mind to divine mind. I want to talk to you, I want to read you from the real self to the real self. And the Course in Miracles teaches you how to do that. I've had more situations solved in my life by not talking to the person than talking to them. By learning how to give them to higher power like the Course in Miracles taught me to do. Because it's telling me how to do that. But he says, first of all, you need to realize that if you focus on what you don't like about me or what you're mad at about me, he says, well, that's going to be your block to the awareness of seeing me for who I really am. So you won't see me past your mistakes, and you won't see me past what you think of as my mistakes. So I won't be able to look past my mistakes if I'm not learning how to look past your mistakes. And the way that I learn to look past my mistakes is to learn how to look past your mistakes. And I need to understand that what I'm upset with you about is the limitation I'm proclaiming about you. And then I focus on the limitation I'm proclaiming about you. And that keeps me from seeing the real you that I really want to connect with. Got it? Okay, let's go to the next paragraph. Now, this is the other thing. What is it that always has a focus? Well, the Course in Miracles says perception has a focus, right? I'm looking down at my Kindle right now. My perception is focusing in on my Kindle right now. I look at him, my perception is focusing on him. So the Course says it's the focus. Your focus is what gives consistency to what you see. So if I focus on what I don't like about my partner, is that what I'm going to see all the time? And how often am I going to see it? Consistently. Yeah. So I consistently think you a bunch of crap. Or I consistently think you are totally beautiful. So perception has a focus, and what you focus on in a person, that's what you're going to see consistently. You're going to always see what you want to see. That's why when people are upset with me, I notice that it doesn't matter what I say. If they decided to focus on what they see is what's limited about me, then everything I say, nothing I say is going to matter. But why? Because their focus is on whatever it is they don't like about me. So that's what I mean by just stop wasting your breath. Right? If a person is determined to be separate from you and to attack you, then there's nothing you could say, be it loving or unloving, that's going to change what they're seeing. Why? Because they're focusing on not you. They're focusing on the limitation they are proclaiming about you in their own mind. They are focused on the story that they're telling you. But sometimes they miss the main point, which is if they were seeing you correctly the way the Spirit is teaching, you wouldn't be upset with them in the first place. So the mere fact that I'm upset lets me know I'm wrong in my focus, in my perception. So there's no such thing as me being upset and I'm right. Because if I'm upset, I'm focusing on the limitation I proclaimed about you, and I'm focusing on that limitation more than I'm focusing on what's beyond that limitation. Everybody with me? Okay? The Course in Miracles is not hard. It's just a trick when you tell yourself that it's just an excuse not to study it. It's just an excuse not to study it. When people tell me how hard the Course is, it's just a justification for not studying it. That's okay. You innocent, the Course doesn't care, I don't care, God doesn't care, people next door don't care. So it's okay. You're innocent. So what happens when you change your focus? He says then what you see is going to change. If I decide to focus on the good about you, then guess what's going to start happening? I'm going to start seeing what I perceive of as the good in you. So if there's somebody right now that you're upset with and you're not seeing the good in them, what do you need to do? Change your focus. See, we're getting answers. If you don't like your boss, it's because you're focusing on things about your boss that you don't like. And so if you want to see something else, you got to change your focus. And notice it says, what you see will change accordingly. You don't have to make the outer change once you change the inner. A mirror is not going to smile at you before you smile. So you think anything that's going to happen in the world before you do it, you're sadly mistaken. If you're waiting for everybody to be kind before you will be kind, then you make the mistake. If you're looking to have friends before you're willing to give friendship and be a friend, you're making a mistake. There are many people sitting back waiting for other people to reach out to them before they will reach out. And they'll be sitting at home by themselves from here on out. You know, it's like someone who says they want to have a relationship and don't extend no kind of way. So they're supposed to just show up at your door. You know, well maybe you order enough UPS packages. Okay. And you just sit out on the porch and wait for them to drive to show up. Maybe that'll be the one. But you're not leaving home. They're supposed to come. You know. And let me ask you a question. Are you really that big of a catch? I'm not being cruel, but I'm just asking, are you really that big of a catch? Are you peaceful, loving, forgiving, kind, fun? I mean, with the person you want you. Because people say they really want, yes, what kind of person they want. They say smart, rich, spiritual, you know, fun, right? And then you have to ask yourself, Would a person like that want you? A person who doesn't speak or reach out to anybody in the room will be the first one to sometimes walk out of a gathering and say the people at the gathering weren't friendly. And they didn't say a word to nobody there. And they'll walk out and go, well, that group don't seem like they're too friendly. No, that group is reflecting back to you what you're giving to the group. You're not friendly. That's why I think people work on their physical appearance more than their mind. Because if you look good, you are good. And people will be attracted to you just because of the way you look. People didn't follow Jeffrey Dahmer home because he looked like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And you know from your own experience, some of the craziest relationships you've ever had have been the people you were most physically attracted to. Because they look good. I catch myself when I see that habit come up in me, because it's still in there. I've been programmed, a part of me has been programmed, until the Holy Spirit said to me one day, the boy said to me, Purdy, there is no fit for everybody in the world got the same body parts. There's not a woman in the world in ordinary circumstances. Forgive me all of the pronouns and stuff I might be missing. That does not have basically the same body parts as any other woman in the whole world. And no man that's walking around in a normal situation that doesn't have all the body parts that are exactly the same, even though some of us may be more well endowed than others. But it's the same parts. I try to run away half my class at the very beginning so I can find out who I can play with and teach. So y'all part of my weeding out. I'm serious. I want to teach people that are fun and down to earth and non-judgmental, right? Because I really haven't said anything. You giving it all to me, and I didn't say what that endowment was. You know what I'm saying? Could have been a college scholarship for y'all. My point is, the Course says all we are doing is looking at different shapes and sizes and colors. That's all we're doing. I have the same physical characteristics as, like I said, the average man. So that means that no man is offering you really anything that different and it's supposed to put the physical parts on. The same thing with a female. So what is it that really makes us unique? Is our consciousness, is our mind, is our thinking, what I'm talking to you about, who I am in terms of what I believe, whether I'm going to see you through a limited perception of you or whether I'm going to focus on a loving perception of you. So the Course says you can love all people through one person. Yeah. It's right there in the book. You can love all beings through one being. Because he says you can let that one being represent all beings. So if you're in a special relationship with someone, then you treat that person the way the Course is teaching you that you should treat that person. And let that person represent everyone, because if you can do it with one person, you'll be able to do it with everybody. So start out with one person. And who would be the easiest one person? Well, the person that you're already in a special relationship with. The people that you're already in special relationships with today, already. Rather than go look for somebody new to limit. She didn't accept my limitations. I'm moving on. She did not accept the limitations that I wanted to put on her, so I'm going to find some new person to limit. Take it slow. The book is hilarious if you take it slow. Then he says, well, what will happen when you change your focus? He says, well, what you see is going to change accordingly. What does that mean? When he says it means your vision now will shift to give support to the intent that you have, which has replaced the one you had before. I'm trying to work things out with my father. I focused on how my father did not benefit me in any kind of way. So let me see if I can change my focus to focus on the things my father did do for me. If I can focus on anything about my father that I can appreciate. Well, if I do that, he says, then what you see is going to give support to the new intent that you have that replaces the intent that you had before. So first I got to decide to see you differently. There are people who want to forgive their parents, and they'll come to a class like this and expect me to convince them why they should forgive. Have you ever met somebody that was wanted you to convince them why they should forgive? It's easier to work with people who know they have a grievance, but they know they want to let it go. Yeah. Then you work with those people because they know they got their grievance, but they don't want to hang on to it. But for me to think it's my job to get you to want to let go, that's not my job. So remove your focus on your brother's sins. Remove your focus on the thing that you think they've done. And what should you do? He says, well, if you do that, you're going to experience the peace that comes from having faith in their innocence, their sinlessness. Thank you. I'll say that again. I'm not going to experience, how can you experience peace with a person that you keep holding grievances to?
Let go of the grievance.
It's like what he says. How am I going to, I say I want to have peace with you, but I want to focus on the thing I'm upset with you about. Well, then doesn't that mean I'm never going to have peace with you?
Exactly.
So I've got to already want to get past my block. And I'm not going to set it up that I'm going to get past my block if you admit you're guilty. Because that's the way people who don't know the truth do it. They say they'll forgive you once you admit you're guilty. And that they were right about the thing they saw in you. Right? But the Course is saying, no, you need to want to focus on that there is a loving, peaceful, sane part of me. And then you start moving to a peace with me because you want to see me differently. Okay? Then the next sentence says, this faith receives its only sure support from what you see in others past their sins. So I got to see you past the thing that I'm upset with you about if I want to have any faith in you that you're innocent or sinless. I have to want to see you beyond the limited perception that I have of you. And then you go, well, what is the limited perception? Whatever you're telling yourself that's making you feel that grievance. But what you don't know is that that grievance is blocking your miracles, your prosperity, your health, and your abundance. And that's what that grievance is really doing. It's blocking your miracle. It's blocking your peace. For a long time, I didn't practice the truth because of how it benefited other people. I would try to practice the truth because of how it benefited me. So if you teach me that it benefits me not to hold a grievance toward you, I'm more motivated to get rid of my grievance. Then it would be if you're trying to convince me I need to let go of my grievance because of what it does for you. I don't even like you. That's why I had the grievance. So I'm not going to do it for you. I'll do it for me faster than I'll do it for you. I'm just being honest with you. Somebody I don't like, they don't motivate me to want to be kind to them. But you show me how it's affecting me. Oh, you're telling me this is keeping me from having faith in myself? You're telling me that this is keeping doubts? You mean it's keeping me lonely? You mean it's keeping me alone? You mean it's keeping me sick? You mean it's keeping me in lack for me to hold a grievance against you? And the grievance against you is just a limited perception that I have of you. And guess what? I can let that go. So I'm in control of the grievance. I'm in control of letting go of the grievance. But if I got to get you to cooperate, it might take years. So that's why I said at the beginning, I like to solve my problems by not talking to people. Because they slow me down. Because when you open your mouth, you might give me more justification for not wanting to let my grievance go. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Think about it for a minute. If I don't talk to you and I'm separate from you somewhere in another physical location, I take a lot of pictures. I'm a photographer. I've been that way since I was 16 years old. You know, out of the literally thousands of pictures that I have, I don't have any pictures of anybody going, I hate you. All my pictures, people are smiling or feeling peaceful. And I bet you your photographs are the same way. So when I look through my photographs and I look at friends and people that are, even the ones I'm not in relationship with right now, I have warm feelings. Because I'm remembering, all I'm seeing is the loving thoughts, even the ones that we might be separate now. And I go, wow, you kind of forget what you were separate about. Because all you're seeing is witnesses to the joy you had with each other. Follow me on that. But the Course says when you look back, you're never remembering how the other person was reacting to you. That when you look back at something in your memory, the only thing you're remembering is the reactions you were having to them. So that's why when you look at that one old boyfriend, you go, oh, Peter. My goodness, I love Peter. And why? Because I'm focusing in. That's my focus. So when I see him, I'm ready to go, hey, you know, we might have ended our relationship in a challenging way. But you know what? When I run to old Peter, I'd be glad to see. Why? Because I'm remembering the reaction I had to him that was joy. But that person might have, when they hear about me, they might want to get as far away from me as possible because their reaction to me when they was with me was they didn't like me and they didn't like how I was expressing myself. But I don't know that because I'm only reacting to how I was feeling about them. So remember, whenever you are remembering any situation from the past or any relationship to the past, you're just remembering the way you felt about them and the way you do not know how they feel about you. So you could have had a date with somebody that you thought was the best date in the world, and they went home and changed their number. Follow me? Yeah, because you are reacting to your projection on who you thought they were and the way you reacted to it. So why am I saying this? Because the easiest way to forgive somebody is in your mind. Not through necessarily talking to them. And I'm not saying you shouldn't if that opportunity comes up and both of you want to do that you want to have a conversation, but you want to have it for the purpose of healing with each other. Not to convince each other that you ought to heal with each other. Did you see what I said? I'm not going to get together with you for us to convince each other of anything. But I will get together with you if you're willing to admit you would like to have a more peaceful connection and I would like to have a more peaceful connection. And we're willing to get rid of the limited perceptions we have of each other. We're willing to let go of the focus that we have. That's basically what you're saying. And so read the Course in Miracles slowly. I refuse to go fast because the Course in Miracles teaches that you should not do this fast. Then it says, notice how it's going to say the same thing again. For their mistakes, if focused on, are what? Witnesses to the sins of the mistakes in you. So I'll say it again. Whatever you focus on in me is a witness to that same thing in you. Whatever you focus on in them is the witness you have to the exact same, you got the exact same issue you see in them as have. Which is what? You have limited perceptions of each other. Okay? And so the Course says, for their mistakes, if focused on, are witnesses to the sins or mistakes in you. And what happens when you focus in on another person's mistakes? Well, the Course says what's going to happen is you will not transcend their sight. So again, he just said it another way. The Course just said another way. If I focus on everything about you that keeps me from seeing you in a peaceful way, then I'm not going to see the sinlessness and the innocence that lies beyond the thing I'm upset with you about or the thing I see in you that I don't like. So it's telling us over and over again, if you focus on what you don't like about somebody or what you're projecting that's upsetting you about somebody, you won't see the part of them or the real them beyond that really is loving and that really would be the peaceful, real person that you want to connect with. So you got to make a choice with your parents, with everybody in your life, your friends, your co-workers. You all have got to make a choice today of what? What are you going to focus on? So therefore, in practicing today, what is the first thing we do? I love it. It says you got to let go of all such little focuses. I got a lot of little focuses that I got to learn how to let go of. And do what? You got to let that need you have to focus on the grievance. You got to let that give way to our great need to let our innocence or sinlessness become apparent. So let's put that in plain language. I've got to want to let go of all the things I think you're doing that's upsetting me because I have a greater need to see the parts of you that don't upset me. I need to see the part of you all that's fun, that's loving, that feels connected, that wants to let go of your blocks. So I've got to want that more than I've got to want to hang on to the grievance that I think I have about you. So if you're in a relationship that you want to get past the grievance, you got to want to see the innocence in that person more than you want to hang on to your grievance. And you know what? What determines whether or not a person is willing to let go of the grievance? Whether there's a payoff they're getting out of the grievance that means more to them than trying to get beyond it. So if I want to keep the grievance more than I want to forgive with you, then I'm not going to let go and change my focus because I want to be separate from you. Because some people think forgiving means they don't have to be around you again and they don't want to. Some people think forgiving means you're supposed to go out to lunch next week. And so they don't want to forgive because they don't want to join at a physical ego level. But remember, forgiveness is something that you're learning to do to free you. So I have to just want to see you differently to have a forgiving attitude. A forgiving attitude is me just wanting to see you differently and then being willing to go beyond my focuses and learn how to go beyond my focuses that keep me from seeing you with love. I gotta want to. I'm serious. That's how I can always tell when my mind is changing. Is that my electronic stuff, astrology would say it's because I have Aquarius rising with Uranus in my 5th house. And us with Uranus in the 5th house, we are a lot of fun. Be on the lookout for, be on the lookout for a 5th house Uranus as soon as you can. Put it in your dating profile. There go 10 more students. Exactly. That's exactly what happened. That's what made me feel okay about teaching the Course in Miracles full time. I never looked at it like I had competition because the Holy Spirit told me in the Course that those would be sent to me who needed it the way I do it. So I don't ever do my class the way anybody else wants me to do it. Because then I have to keep on not being myself to hang on to those people. You pretend to be something you're not to get a relationship. You're going to have to keep on playing that game even after you get that person under false pretenses. They ain't worth it. But it takes a while to learn that because most people are too insecure to realize they'd be enough for anybody the way they are. So they couldn't possibly show up as their real self because nobody would want them in their perception. So then they try to be what you want. Right? And then they, it's like I got married when I was 19 years old. Who in the world knows anything about themselves when they're 19 years old? And so then we freaked out if you happen to grow apart in the relationship. It's almost a miracle if you don't. That's what amazes me more, is that people who get married young do stay together past 30. Because in my perception, you don't even begin to get some kind of grip on yourself before 30 years old. When you're in your 20s, you're in boogie body land. You don't even know you got a body. You can be. I used to party all night long and go straight to work without going to bed. Now we're not going to talk about that. You talk to me about a party, I go to sleep. Okay. Let alone there for all night. Don't even mention it. It's so funny to go to parties with people that I've known for 20 years or so, and you have parties and you get together, and then it starts at 6 and it's over by 9:30. It's like, it was the same people. It'd be 5 o'clock in the morning, and y'all still jamming, So my point is, we instruct our minds that we are seeking to see the innocence beyond the thing that we're upset about. And then the Course says, we instruct our minds that it is for just a little while. He says, say this to yourself, just a little while. So say what? I instruct my mind that it is the innocence that I seek. I am instructing my mind that I want to see the innocence in you instead of the guilt in you. I want to see the good in you instead of the bad in you. I want to see the miracle instead of the grievance. Notice it said, instruct your mind. So that means you got to take the time to say that to yourself. Then it said, that's what I was getting ready to say. If you're in a relationship with somebody that you really care about and you really love, it's easier to forgive the focuses that are causing grievances because you want to be together and because you really care about each other and you really value the friendship or relationship. But if you're surrounded with people you don't really care that much about in the first place, there's not going to be a whole lot of motivation to get to work through whatever comes up because you don't really care about each other. So people who don't really care about each other trying to solve relationship problems rarely are successful. So the first thing I ask people if I'm doing couples counseling is, do you want to be together? Do you want to join? Do you want to separate? Are you in love with each other? And most of them don't say nothing. And be quite honest, most of them don't say anything. Because that's why they already got the grievance and they're talking to you. They don't like each other. So when you ask them, do you love each other? What? You know, do you do the Course in Miracles definition of a relationship from the ego perspective or the wrong-minded perspective, which it says is two bodies being together under the same roof, whose minds are totally miles apart. So people think being in a relationship is you having the same address. A lot of times when it comes to relationships, that your bodies are in the same physical location. Just like the Course says, us coming together under the same roof for our individual interests and needs, he said that is not us joining. Even though we would say, oh, we joined together at Earl's class. He said, no. If you all came here and I came here to get my own personal issues healed, but we just came together in the same room, we did not join. Right? But if we all came here and we all had the goal of peace and oneness and joining with each other and knowing our oneness with each other, then we join it. But for all us to come together and never even introduce ourselves to each other in a level, that's not joining. And that's also not really and truly, in my perception, hearing what we're studying. It really isn't. So the Course in Miracles says, and we don't care about, and I can do this part, he said, just for a little while, instruct your mind that you want to see the sinlessness beyond the grievance. Then it says, we do not care about our future goals, and then what we saw in the previous instant has no concern for us within this interval of time wherein we practice changing our intent. So what did we just hear? Okay, I have a grievance with you. I want to see the innocence beyond the grievance. So I'm not going to care about what's going to happen with us in the future, and I'm not going to care about what happened to us and with us in the past. I'm just going to practice wanting to see you beyond my grievance right now. Y'all follow that? I'm not going to focus on what it was I thought you'd done in this instant when I asked to see past the grievance, and I'm not going to worry about what you might do to me next week. If I'm trying to get past the grievance or what you did, I am going, in this instant, the only thing I'm concerned with you all is I want to see you all beyond any of my programming, racially and sexually, or anything that I've gone through with you in the past, all of you. I want to see you past the programming that I've gotten, past the past experiences that I have, because if I'm not enjoying you, it's not because of anything you're doing, it's the limiting perception I have of you that I projected on you that you couldn't be fun and joyful for me to be around, and I'm waiting for you to prove to me you all are fun. And then, but you know and I know, if I get past your representative, then we're going to have fun. And the person that's sitting in the room is our representative. It's the us that's out front. I call it the guard, the shield. I'm protecting Earl, and I'm judging all of you to see if you can come past. And that's what we do. So the us in public, us. This is no more us than the elephant is us. And don't you think I don't know that? I know that the people that are sitting up in front of this in me right now, and me saying that's not the way you act around the people that you feel the closest to. And that you feel that the freest with. I know that, because I know some of you jokers. Okay. I know you're faking it, trying to look normal. Ain't nothing normal about none of y'all. Y'all wouldn't even be studying the course if you were normal. So you can try to act like you are, but that you do that with the other people that think you're crazy. But with us, we know it. Yeah, you can be. I'm not going to freak out about you being yourself or how you communicate or what you say. So the Course in Miracles says we seek for innocence. So what am I going to do in that instant that I'm not thinking about what you might do in the future or what you did in the past? He says, well, I'm seeking for your innocence, and all I want to see is your innocence. I don't want to see your innocence and your guilt. I just want to see your innocence. Okay, so what is a major hazard to success? In being able to see people differently, let go of their grievance. Notice I'm taking it slow. What is the major hazard? Well, the major hazard has been your being involved with your past and future goals. Course in Miracles says what's keeping you from moving forward is you're too focused on the goals you had in the past or the goals you had in the future. Because if you would think about it, in most relationships, when you're having a grievance, it's merely because of the fact that they are limited by whatever it is you're seeing in them. And also that's another way of saying you have scripts for people and they didn't act out the script in whatever way you wanted that script acted out, and you got mad. And that would have to be a past or future goal, right? It had to be something how I wanted you to be in the past or how I want you to be in the future. And that's why we're saying we're going to sit down and talk it out. Because what we're really trying to do is I want you to tell me how I can get my goal accomplished. Because what we're upset about is you didn't do the thing I wanted you to do in order for my goal to be accomplished. So now we're going to have to sit down so we can see how my goal can be acted out. We're not using this time to sit down in front of each other and go, you know what? I want to see the innocence in you beyond the grievance that I have. Then you say to me, I want to see the innocence in you beyond the grievance that I have. I want to see the innocence in you. I want to see the innocence in you. I want to look past the limited perception and the block and the grievance that I have towards you right now. I want to look past the grievances and the block that I have. See, I'm not concerned about what you're going to do later on. And I'm not focused in on the past goals I had with you that didn't work out. I'm going to use this moment to seek the innocence in you and nothing else. How many people have you ever seen do that in any situation where they were upset with each other? None. No, but you've seen plenty of people get together to tell each other what the other would need to change in order for them to be happy. You've seen that a million times, and you know you've done it too. We've all done it. We're going to work it out means we're going to try to figure out how I can get what I want the way I want it. That's what we're going to work it out means. And if you don't do it, I'm going to let you know what's going to be limited. I mean, the Course in Miracles is straight up. It doesn't take any prisoners. It's the most straight up book you ever want to read. And because we are selfish in our egos. We do just think people are here to serve us and to do what we want them to do the way we want to do it. And we are tempted to call a friendship or a relationship a good friendship or a relationship when the person is acting out my fantasies.
There you go.
You know. I used to fantasize about what I wanted to experience in a relationship. And when I started to let go of the fantasies as determining how I felt, then oddly enough, all the fantasies that I had started to be manifested when I let go of my attachment to whether or not it happened. So it wasn't like even the part of me that wanted the fantasy didn't get its wish. But since I wasn't going to give my happiness away if I didn't get the fantasy, then there was no reason why the fantasy couldn't manifest because I wasn't using the fantasy to forget the truth. And what is the truth? My happiness doesn't depend on the fantasy. So the people who least have their fantasies fulfilled are those who think their happiness depends on the fulfillment of the fantasy. And people who have the fantasies fulfilled are those who are going to be happy whether they have the fantasy fulfilled or not.
That's good.
Follow me?
Yeah.
Then he goes, you have been quite preoccupied with how, I love this, he says, you have been quite preoccupied with how extremely different the goals this course is advocating are from the goals you had held before, right? He says, you also have been dismayed by the depressing and restricting thought, even if you should succeed, you will inevitably lose your way again, right? I mean, the course is just being straight up. You say, oh my God, the things that the course is telling me, that's very different from the goals I used to have. Right? My goal used to be I wanted you to fulfill my fantasies. And now my goal is I want to see your innocence. That wasn't the first thing I thought about when I saw you at the club. It wasn't your innocence I wanted to see. I know. How many guys walked up to you in the social gathering and went, I want to see your innocence.
I'm gonna use that.
See, you're already trying to misuse the laws of truth. You're trying to use the truth to your own ego desires. Me too. All right. So the Course in Miracles says, then it says what? You have also been dismayed by the depressing and restricting thought that even if you should succeed, you feel like you're going to lose your way again. Like, okay, I pulled it off, I worked it out with my friend, and then 3 weeks later we're having the same issues come up again. It looks like we saw each other's innocence and we're willing to let it go. And then before we know it, we're right back seeing each other from some type of a limited perception. And you feel like even if I do it, it's not going to work very long. It's not going to be very long before we upset with each other again. And then the Course in Miracles has a beautiful question. It says, well, how could this matter? How could it matter if you try to succeed and you lose your way. He says, because the past is gone and you're just imagining the future. The past is gone. What is the now moment? The now moment is when the past is gone and you're imagining the future. So if you're sitting up here imagining a minute from now, you're doing it from the present moment. And if you're thinking of something that happened in the past, you're doing it from the present moment. So now this is deep, y'all. I want you to hear this. He says, if you're concerned about what happened in the past and that you might fail in the future, go through it again, the Course in Miracles says, these concerns are but defenses against present change of focus in perception. Say what? You don't want to change your mind again. You don't want to change your mind about this person and get past the grievances. So he says, so what you're going to do is say, well, even if I do try to make up with you, we're going to go through the same thing again. See, he says, when you say stuff like that, you're just defending against changing your mind. That's just an excuse to not want to see their innocence. So he says, when you do that, that is all you're doing when you say, I'm trying to forgive this and I'm trying to work this out, and I don't think I'm going to be successful at it. If I say that about anyone or anything, it's that I don't want to change my focus. I don't want to change my mind. I want to keep looking at you exactly the way that I'm looking at you right now. What did Earl just say? If you come up with excuses for not being willing to look at them differently, that's just because you don't want to. And so that's why you'll say stuff like, if I really try to see this person or this situation different, it's not going to make any difference. And we're still going to be going through the same thing. That's what a person says who doesn't want to change their focus. So if you're talking to somebody and they start talking to you that way, well, even if I forgive you, you're just going to do it again. When you're talking to a person who doesn't want to forgive you, who doesn't want to let the situation go, who doesn't want to see your innocence, which basically means they still want to stay separate from you. So I'm going to finish this paragraph because I can't believe it's already 2 o'clock. And when I'm doing this, it just feels like for me, time, there's something that happens with the time. It just seems to go like this, even though we did get a little bit slower start today because I was defending against the truth and trying to block this being done, which is a trip. Okay. Has this made sense to everybody so far?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So has this been helpful? Okay. Okay. So the Course in Miracles says, concerns are defenses against the change of focus and perception. Not being concerned about what you're going to do that's going to not make this work is me not wanting to. I like he said, instead of saying change your mind, if you want to have a fresh energy about changing your mind, call it changing my focus. Saying I'm going to change my mind about you. So wouldn't it be more powerful to say, baby, I'm misperceiving you. I want to change my focus. I feel separate from you right now. I want to change my focus. Instead of saying I want to change my mind, start saying I want to change my focus. Yeah, to me, that's what the Course in Miracles does. It gives me alternative interpretations of things that'll keep me excited about it. Because everybody's heard change your mind a million times. If I think I heard somebody say I got to change my mind one more time, right? But if someone says, you got to change your focus, bro. You experiencing lack, you need to change your focus. You experiencing loneliness, you need to change your focus. You got to change your focus, right? And so the Course in Miracles says, concerns are the defenses against present change of focus in perception. Nothing more. So what are we going to do with that focusing on what could go wrong? He says, well, we lay these pointless limitations by for how long? A little while. Yeah, it's like me saying, you know what, Matt, just for a little while, I'm willing to see you past the grievance that I'm putting on you. Now, it doesn't really mean you've done anything. That's what's so funny. I'm working out this whole thing as if you've done something, but really your only crime is going to be, you did not act out my script. That's the only crime you're going to commit. Right? So that's the limitation I projected on you. And then I've got to decide whether or not I want to see you beyond that focus by me choosing that I want to focus on something else about Matt. And I'm not going to think about what happened between me and Matt in the past. And I'm not going to focus on what Matt might do. Because Matt's going to be what Matt might do. That will be me. I know Matt's going to do something to screw it up. Right? And he says, well, instead of doing that, take that moment to go, this is the moment that I'm seeking Matt's innocence. And I want to see Matt's innocence and nothing more. And I'm not going to worry about how Matt's going to be in the future. I'm not going to worry about what Matt did in the past. I'm going to focus right now that I want to see Matt a different way. right? He says, we do not look to past beliefs, and what we will believe will not intrude upon us now. I'm not going to let what I'm going to believe that Matt might do in the future intrude upon me. And I'm also not going to, in this moment, he said just for a little while, I'm not going to even focus on the thing that I think you did to me. He says, we will enter in the time of practicing with just what? One intent. And what is that one intent? I want to look at the sinlessness and the innocence within who Matt really is. I want to see my brother beyond his ego. Beyond the ego I've made up of him, the concept I've made up of him, and the concept he's made up about himself. I'm going to stop right here. You know, this is practical application. There was nothing at the course, and I'm going to finish this next week. All right, I'm going to keep going in this. But we've heard a lot we could walk out of here today and use if we really wanted to. And that's what he was telling us. He said, well, why wouldn't I use this, Earl? Because the grievance that you're holding in that situation and you're keeping that limited perception of that person is more important to you than seeing past that limitation to who they really are. You want to hold that grievance and you want to keep that grievance. So you're going to think about everything you think that person has done so that you will feel justified in not changing your focus.
Wow. And it's all on you.
Always. Which frankly is the way I want it. I want to do as much as can be done to give myself more peace that doesn't have to do with the cooperation of anybody else. I want very little of my life having to do with somebody else's cooperation outside of myself, in order for me to be happy. Because then I got to work with you and your ego and your programming and your beliefs and your past and your issues. You see what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. And then you think you got to do that with everybody you know. No wonder people don't want a lot of friends.
It is.
Right? Because that's a lot of special relationships. And a lot of special relationships are a lot of different demands and expectations and scripts. So when you say I got 100 friends and they're really close friends, you get a lot of phone calls every day for one thing or another. Right? He's saying to us, I'm going to give you the easy way. And the easy way is for you to recognize that all you have to do is be willing within your own mind to go past that limited perception that you're seeing. Well, I'm going to do a couple of minutes of this recap. I'm going to do the love offering right now. Those who are online, I'm a full-time teacher of the course. I appreciate your sharing with me, especially if you think you received something of value. That would be great. That would be wonderful. But I'm sustained by the love of God, and you're sustained by the love of God. That's what time that is. And online, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, I really would be grateful for that. All you have to do is you can use Zelle, Venmo, the Cash App, and PayPal. What's the other one? I think that's it. PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, Venmo. Right. All you need is my email address, earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. Did I say earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com? I'm also available for one-on-one coaching, mentoring, counseling sessions to show you exactly how you can apply this to a situation that you know you need to see differently right now. I'm also very much available, even if you just do it one time, to have a session with me that's totally about me mentoring and coaching you about the best way to approach studying the Course in Miracles and how to use the Course in Miracles on your own to your benefit. So I'm also here to support people who want to use me as a mentor at least one time for how you want to approach this to make it easier and to make it more powerful. Because there's nothing you're going through that there's not another way to allow Spirit to take over in that situation. You're not studying the Course in Miracles so that you can handle things. The Course in Miracles is here to teach you how to let yourself be helped. The purpose of the Course in Miracles is to teach you how to let your problems be solved. I'll say that again. It's not a regular personal growth book that's all about you studying something that gives you more information for you to handle things alone. The Course in Miracles is about teaching you how to let go of the blocks to the awareness of God and love's and higher power's presence so you can let it heal your mind and therefore heal the situations in your life. This is not a class that's about you getting better at handling things by yourself. That is not the purpose of the Course in Miracles. It's a spiritual teaching. It's a spiritual teaching. I want to learn how to let things be done for me and through me. And I want to meet other people that want to do the same thing. I'm also available for astrological and numerological higher consciousness readings. So those of you who are open and receptive to that, and people ask me all the time, well, what does astrology have to do with being a course and doing the Course in Miracles? And I ask, well, what does your job got anything to do with the Course in Miracles? Right, you got something you think you're doing in the world that you think you need to do. It's the judging each other's path is what we need to let go of. It was astrology that introduced me to my spiritual path that eventually led me to the Course in Miracles. That's how because it's nothing but another way before we incarnated into this dream that we tried to give ourselves information about why we're here and what we're here to do. It's like the ultimate appointment book, right? That's what astrology and numerology, the Course in Miracles backs that up. It says the Holy Spirit will use whatever you've made, whatever you believe, whatever you're into as a way for you to wake up to the truth. So it's not anything anybody's doing in the world that couldn't be used by Spirit. Wow. You don't have to quit your job because you're now studying the truth unless you hate it. You know what I'm saying? But really, the Spirit could take you right where you are and heal everything right where you are, which in some cases, I'm telling you, studying the truth is much cheaper than a divorce. Or a relationship where you got a lot of material things together. Forgiveness is the least expensive way to deal and the least dramatic way to deal with anything. So 1 o'clock on Sundays, Course in Miracles, Facebook Live, the Earl Purdy page. You can also come in person, 1555 Race Street, 1555 Race Street, Denver, Colorado, 80206. Thursday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. The Earl Purdy page on Facebook is Hardcore Course in Miracles. I upload all of my classes to YouTube, so you don't have to necessarily be have a Course in Miracles membership to watch my classes. They're on YouTube. I'm here to be truly helpful. I'm asking for those who want to learn with me and through me to make themselves known to me. The easiest way to have something is to ask for it. I'm asking for those who resonate with me, right? And who want to change a little focus around here. You ready to change a little focus? Okay. Okay, so here's a quick 1 minute recap. Okay. You all are really cute. I get a chance to look at you from up here. You're not your body. You're not your body. You're not your body. You're not your... Okay, you ready? Listen, 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 listen. You have to, when I say you need to trust your brothers, that means you need to trust your equals. And when I say trust your equals, I'm not talking about trusting your brother's ego. I'm not talking about trusting another person's ego. The part of the person that's not loving, that doesn't know the truth. I'm not asking you to trust that person's ego. But whenever you are attacking a person or someone's attacking you, they think they're limited by the perception that they're having of you. So you have to be willing to look beyond the blocks that you see, the limitations that you see, because you won't be able to see past your mistakes and your errors if you can't see past someone else's mistakes and someone else's errors. Now, what else do we hear? Your perception has a focus. Perception has a focus. Perception has a focus. Perception has a focus. And what you focus on gives consistency to what you see. So what does that mean? Change but your focus. And what you see will change accordingly. Change your focus. And what you see will change accordingly. Change your focus. And what you see will change accordingly. Change your focus. You know who I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You won't experience peace with that person until you get past your limited perception of what you think that person is. So how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do that? You have to see the innocence beyond your projection on them, or how you think they're limited because they didn't do what you wanted them to do, because they didn't do it the way you want them to do it. When you let all little focuses go, then how do you do that? How do I let go of this grievance? How do I let this grievance go? You have to have a great need to see their innocence. You must have a great need to get past the abundance, past the grievance. You have to have a great need to get past that limited perception that you have. And you, just for a minute, you have to let go of being concerned about what's going to happen between you and that person in the future, or you're focused on what's been happening between you and that person in the past. And right in the present moment, you go, I'm going to practice changing my intent. I will practice changing my intent. You will practice changing your intent. You will practice changing your intent. Seek for innocence and nothing else. Seek for the, I didn't say you would necessarily see it first. What are you doing? You're seeking for their innocence and nothing else. You're seeking for their innocence and nothing else. Seek for their innocence and nothing else. So a major hazard. What's the major hazard? Your involvement with past and future goals. I know what the Course is asking you to do is very different from maybe what other books have asked you to do. You might even feel dismayed. You might even feel depressed, thinking that even if you were to succeed in forgiving this person or looking past the grievance, you may end up having to go through the same thing again. You might fail. But do you know what that really is? That's you just not really wanting to change your mind and hang on to the grievance. The past is gone. The future is imagined. You're going to change your focus and perception, and you're not going to let your desire to put the limited perception that you have of them, that you know, you're not going to make that the most important thing. So are you ready to lay your limitations aside? Are you willing to lay your grievances that block your miracles aside? Are you willing to let go of the grievance that blocks your abundance? Your grievance blocks your abundance. Your grievance blocks the love and the joy and the peace in your life are blocked by your grievances. The love and the joy and the peace in your life are blocked by your grievances. Are you willing to let your limitations go? Are you willing to let your limitations go? Where the Course says, don't look to the past beliefs, and what we will believe will not intrude upon us now. Don't let those old beliefs intrude upon you right now. That old limited perception of that person intrude upon you right now. We're going to enter right now into the time of practicing with just one goal, one intent, to look to the innocence within. To look to the innocence within. Say what? I want to look at the innocence within. 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 That's what I want to do. I don't necessarily see it yet, because if I already was seeing it that way, I wouldn't need to do the Course right now. If I already was looking at everything with the right focus, I wouldn't need to do this. So don't put yourself down. Don't put yourself down for still having some grievances and upsets and a limited perception of somebody. Just remember, I'm willing to seek another way of looking at them. There's a lesson in the Course in Miracles that goes. There's another way. There's another way. There's another way of looking at this, and there's another way of looking at them. Got it? Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you. Practical application. Practical application of the Course. This is Earl Purdy, signing off. Please share this video, and you can watch it on YouTube. Yes.